Scarefest Radio is sponsored by Spirit Mechanics for your spiritual health and well-being. Find them on Facebook. MECHANIX. And by Coyote Chris Sutton, bringing light to the darkest places. CoyoteChris.com.
The opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to Scarefest Radio. The original broadcast date is November 23rd, 2018. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I hope everybody has had a great turkey day. Of course, here on the farm, it was pretty much just like any other weekend, except I had a really, really big meal that made me miserable for like 48 hours. But beyond that, tonight, of course, our guest is Mr. Scott Porter from Tennessee Wraith Chasers. He's joining me on camera. We have internet. Okay, now, got to get some crap out of the way so you know what's going on. Quarter after the hour, after the commercial break, we're going to give you our next celebrity announcement for the Scarefest. You horror fans will be excited. At the 30-minute mark, we'll do our contest for our Black Friday giveaway, which is a 3-day pass to Scarefest 12, Scarefest XII, Scarefest 2019 with VIP upgrade. That is sponsored by Winchell's Restaurant and Sports Bar. And then at the end of the show, we'll talk a little bit Louisville SuperCon. If you want a free autographed picture, I am going to be giving away my autographed pictures because they sold so shitty at the Scarefest. So I'm just going to give them away. If you'll come up and say, I want a autographed picture of you, Wesley, I will give you one. But if you want a bad tarot card reading, which they have informed me they will let me do, if you want a really bad tarot card reading, now that's going to cost you because I got to make liquor money somewhere, people. And that's one thing. The Scarefest will do a lot of things for me, but they will not sponsor my bar tab. What the hell was that? Okay, I had a cat sneeze under my desk. Okay, everybody, let's all get together and give a warm welcome to my yearly Thanksgiving guest, Mr. Scott Porter.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Okay, now Scott, you gotta tell me, are we gonna be able to keep this up for the foreseeable future? Because now that I know that you actually you're starting to have a social life now.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
A little bit, just a little bit.
Okay, I worry about that because that's how you got sucked into this, is because you being the single swinging rural manhunk that you are, you didn't have 20 kids to visit on Thanksgiving. What'd you do for Thanksgiving this year?
Man, you know what? I spent it with my son. You know, I've got a 6-year-old little boy, and he is the apple of my eye. So, you know, we had Thanksgiving dinner with my folks, and you know what? We pigged out, and then we just stayed in a vegetative state the rest of the night.
Well, that works. But now, did you? So, originally you said you'd be traveling. Are you home now? Where are we calling from?
I am home. I'm actually just outside of Nashville, so I am home.
Okay. Well, see that this was too damn easy. You had me so nervous. You told me you were going to be traveling.
You know, I had some potential travel going on, and it just kind of like my time runs so thin, and the days get by me so quickly that it just didn't pan out. But I'm settled in for the evening, so it worked out really good. I was afraid I'd be traveling, but hey, I'm here, and you're here, and everybody else is here, and we're not sitting in a hot tractor in the middle of August rolling hay.
I am, yes, and we're going to talk about that. Actually, the third part of the show. I've actually got notes for everybody. But first part, we do need to for the paranormal fans, because I'm going to tell you, your fans just hit Twitter like a lightning bolt. Retweeted the show and everything, so we want to give your paranormal fans some satisfaction. Your latest endeavor is Haunted Live. I keep wanting to say Ghost Hunt Live. Was that the working title?
You know what? I think that title may have come up in there somewhere. We've gone through so many different names trying to figure out the right one, and that may have been a working title at one point.
Because I had that in my head. I even Googled it, and it still comes up incidentally. If you Google Ghost Hunt Live, it will still come up. But then I said, no, it's Haunted Live. Where did I get that? But how season 1 is over.
Yes.
Looking back on it, were you happy with the product?
I have to say that I was pretty happy with it. It was one of those things where we had to find our way, because anytime you start doing something that's new, that no one's done before, trying to squeeze a live paranormal show into 1 hour, that's a challenge. And so, it was a big challenge, and then trying to figure out how we were going to be able to give the audience what they wanted, and keep the audience engaged, because you never know what's going to happen. So, that was my fear. Right formula.
That was my fear when you all said you were going to do that. I told Mike and Chris. My working title was paint drying live, because I have been on so many damn ghost hunts, Scott, that there wasn't enough action all night to fill your commercial break. And so,
I've been there too, and that was one of my biggest fears, was that we would get into a place, and we would literally be sitting there watching dust float in front of the IR cameras all night long, and not a daggone thing happen, and then have to sit there and tell bad jokes for an hour. But we were very blessed, or very cursed, depending on how you want to look at it. Even some of the locations that weren't known for having a lot of paranormal activity really showed out for us. So we were very blessed in that.
Now I want to talk the logistics of the show a little bit, because this is something that when I talked to the others, they didn't even know at the time, because you all had not done the first episode. But going into it, because there are the problems with ghosts so rarely appear on demand. Did you all? How did you get to spend time at the location before they said, "Hey, it's 10 o'clock, you're live"? In other words, did you kind of get to search out the hot spots, or was it dumb luck?
Yeah, I mean, we did. We spent majority of the day there, kind of getting a feel for the place, and of course the investigation leading up to the actual investigation of the location, the research, kind of tells us, what we're looking at, historically speaking, statistically speaking, what triggers seem to be getting the most attention or the most activity, what locations seem to be the most active, and forgive me, I've got a little cold still. So I think the Bell Witch gave me a cold. But
I think that's in the legend. I think that's part of the legend.
I think it is too, because I know of a couple people that were there that night that have been extremely sick ever since that episode. So I think that old Bell Witch really showed out for us and gave us something to take home.
I'm guessing one person walked in the cave with you and sneezed and
well, what's really funny about that whole story is that the cave, it really has nothing to do with the old story. So we didn't really get into the cave piece. We just investigated the old cabin, and the grounds around it, and really and truly in an hour, that's all we had time to do. course, we stuck Chris in the ground for a little while, and he had some fun stuff go on. But what can you say?
Well, see, now I've only got to see the Destination America little snippets that they put on the website.
Oh,
Because I don't have cable anymore. I'm one of them cable cutters that you hear about, and unfortunately, and so in other words, they make me pay extra if I want to watch your show. So
well, you probably won't get to see it on Destination America, but you will see it on Travel Channel.
Travel Channel, okay. Well, for the record, Destination America has clips of it. Because it's all owned by the same company.
It is. It's all owned by the Discovery Communications.
I mean, I had to scroll down the page a little bit, but yeah, we found you.
They buried us in there somewhere, right?
Yeah. But because I noticed that I've been saying Destination America, and it's on the banner that I did for tonight. It's a Travel Channel. I said, boy, I hope I grabbed the right banner. But anyway, that's the glory that is me. So okay, the other thing I want to ask is which I don't really see any great difference. Your No Shave November.
Oh yeah, No Shave November.
Did we observe?
I did observe for a brief amount of time. So up until we filmed the last episode, I did not touch my beard. So I just let it grow wild and do its thing. But I had to do Santa pictures with my son today, and so I had to do a little grooming to kind of bring things in a bit and kind of get the flyaways gone and kind of clean up so I look decent for the next year's Christmas ornament. So I did trim it up a little bit today, but I think I still qualify for No Shave November.
Yeah, or November, as you and I normally say.
That's it, November.
I had to do the same thing. I was just going to let it go wild, and then they booked me at the Louisville SuperCon next weekend. And so tonight I said, well, I might as well start shaping it a little bit because I get the whole Santa Claus wings going out and all that stuff. Now I need a haircut. I'm getting a little curly on top.
Yeah, but me too. I'm going to touch mine up a little bit.
Hey, there's a picture of me from Scarefest this year that was taken from the media tower looking down on top of my head. My hair may not be as thick as I thought it was. I'm going to tell you, buddy, there were scalps showing in there. So
well,
I might.
Let me tell you what. Wait till you see yourself on IR. And that will really change your life, and you'll probably be calling me to find out what razors I use to get mine trimmed.
Well, that is a rule that I made back when I was like 17, and I started growing my beard at like 12, I think. But I said back then, when I start going bald, that's it. It's gone. I have no pride to speak of, so why even bother on my case? But
brother,
it'll
set you free.
No, I'll have stubble all the time because I'm too lazy to shave. My neck. That's the only reason I have a beard. That I do like. It gives me a chin, but other than that. Okay, everybody, enough frivolity. We're going to do our first commercial break. When we come back, we will give you that celebrity announcement for Scarefest 2019. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Do you feel lost in life? Do you seem to be stuck in emotions that are not yours? Is your home not the sanctuary it should be? Contact Spirit Mechanics, where they take a team approach to your metaphysical and spiritual problems. Spirit Mechanics specializes in aura cleansing, stone attunement, attachment removal, and house cleansings. Spirit Mechanics tailors their approach to your individual spiritual path and needs. Find them every month at Lexington, Kentucky's Mystical Fair, mysticalfairlex.com, or on Facebook by searching Spirit Mechanics, that's MECHANIX. Spirit Mechanics, for your spiritual health and well-being. And welcome back, everybody, to Scarefest Radio. Okay, people, you gotta like this one. Our next celebrity announcement. And I almost wanted to tease it by putting a big Toy Story banner, but that would have been a big lie. It is Mr. Alex Vincent. Mr. Alex Vincent of the Child's Play franchise. And Child's Play 1, 2, 3, and there's another one in there somewhere. I think he did all of, if somebody correct me if you want to in the chat room, I think he did all the Child Play movies except the ones with the girl doll, where he's in this love tryst with another doll. So, but all the rest of it, I think Alex was in them, and it's started back in 88, I think, and 2 years later we had it 2. So, definite get there for the Scarefest. Alex Vincent will be coming to the Scarefest 2019, and it's a good point, good chance. Whoa, oh yeah, thumbs up. That's real cute. Now you got me all flustered. Anyway, go ahead, people. Little reminder, it is Black Friday. Perfect time to get a discount on Scarefest tickets through Sunday, but they make great Christmas gifts for the horror movie lover in your life. So, but Alex Vincent is our official guest announcement, and get your tickets now. Back to Mr. Scott Porter. I'd actually planned on talking about Thanksgiving, but now you've pretty much we've already blown that kind of. So you spent it with your son.
Yep.
Now, I mean, okay, who cooked?
You know what? I cooked some. My mother cooked some, and I think we pretty much got it covered.
So it was still a family get together then.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay. You kind of downplayed the family part. You do like I do. Of course, I downplay mine on purpose.
Oh, yeah. I didn't do it on purpose. I mean, it's I'm big on family, so when we get together, it's usually a big ordeal. This year we were kind of just my immediate family, just myself, my son, my mother, and my father. But like for Christmas, it'll be my extended family, all my aunts and uncles and cousins, and my grandfather who's still kicking it, and we all get together and hang out on Christmas Day night. But yeah, and we used to do it all the time for Thanksgiving, but everybody's in so many different parts of the country now; it's just difficult to do.
I can understand that. Although, no, actually I can't, because I thought Tennessee was like Kentucky. Wherever people stopped, that's how Kentucky got settled. People crossed the mountains into Kentucky and said, "Screw this! I ain't going no further. You all go west. We're just right here." Ham or turkey?
Oh man, this time it was turkey. But I'll tell you what I usually do. I usually do a standing rib roast.
That's right. I remember that from last year, which was just totally off the wall.
Yeah.
But
I got so tired of doing the turkey all the time. So it was like, do something new. So I found a standing rib roast recipe from Paula Deen. And oh my gosh, it's my go-to. And I'll probably be doing that for Christmas this year since I didn't do it for Thanksgiving.
See, now I don't mind turkey at Thanksgiving because that is literally the only time all year that we cook a turkey. Now I might get some slices to do club sandwiches, but
yeah.
But otherwise, because we stopped buying TV dinner. Little side note: turkey is very popular in TV dinners, but
Yes.
so we now, like with us now, it's me and my wife, and we have we did not breed, so there are no offspring to speak of.
Right.
Not that I ever got served papers on anyway. But we have a friend who's divorced, and she's family, and she's got a kid in college, but she doesn't want to have Thanksgiving thing just the two of them. So we're pretty much her family. So they came over. So we had 5 people at the table, which was actually that was a big crowd for us. But my wife, who makes me eat bologna sandwiches 11 months out of the year. 11 months out of the year, people. For Thanksgiving, I got to give her credit. She goes all out.
Oh,
I mean,
there you go.
5 people, think about it. We had turkey and we had ham.
Oh, look out. You did. You went all out, didn't you?
Yeah. And,
I do have to say, we did go all out. I mean, we had the turkey, we had the dressing, we had the deviled eggs. I actually skillet roasted some sweet corn, and we had green beans, and oh my gosh, the rolls, and then they had the giblet gravy, and then the brown gravy, and then had I think 3 different types of dessert. So we had way too much food for us, for sure.
Was giblet gravy what we had? Okay. And it was kind of clear. Now, this came up on Facebook the other day. For some reason, in our little part of Kentucky here, we call them dressed eggs.
Yes.
But you said deviled eggs. Somebody on Facebook said, "Is that the same?" From Michigan said, "Is that the same as deviled eggs?"
Yeah.
Well, it obviously is, but I just wonder how we became so divided.
I don't know that it's division. I think it's different folks. Because I remember my grandmother used to say dressed eggs, and I remember the smart aleck at me is like, "What did you put them in? Like a sweatshirt or what?"
But
the deviled eggs. I mean, I think they just they got a little bit of what is it they put on them? What's the not coriander? What is the red?
Paprika's the only stuff we put on them. Paprika, but we put that on dressed eggs.
That's it. Paprika.
Yeah. Or if you're at paprika, pepper tastes exactly like pepper.
Pepper's good. Pepper's a good go-to.
But now another little side note while we're talking about eggs, because that's what I like to do when I have you on. Now around here, you don't hear nobody use the term anymore because you don't find them in the country store, because you don't find any country stores. Deviled eggs were basically just boiled eggs soaked in vinegar.
Ooh.
And so for a long time, when I'd hear people say about deviled eggs, I'm like, yuck, because that's what deviled eggs were here. And they would serve them with like hot sauce or something.
Well, I saw those as like pickled eggs.
Well, see, okay, here, that's the same. Pickled eggs and deviled eggs are the same thing, or used to be when I was a kid.
Oh,
see?
okay.
See?
Okay,
so,
good to know.
Little culture. See, we never should have shared a map. Tennessee and Kentucky are just 2 completely different places.
You know what? It's so funny when you start talking about the language and the different things we have in different areas of the country, and that divide that we have everywhere. I mean, like, you can go to somewhere in the Northwest or the Northeast, and something they say there may be completely different from what we say here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And of course, if you ever want to really have fun, Australia.
Oh, yeah.
Beth, who comes to Scarefest every year, tones it down. She's been to Kentucky enough times. She understands the language, so she tries to leave it out, but get a few cocktails in her, and she will start dropping these phrases in Australian that just have absolutely no frame of reference whatsoever. I have no idea what she's talking about. So it's a lot of fun, of course. And then now, to us, most Americans would say that a British accent and even an Australian accent, for no particular reason, sounds smarter than we do. Would you agree with that? Now,
that's what people say.
Do you agree, though? When you hear somebody speaking in a British accent, not a Cockney accent, because that's like hillbilly. That's like what you and I speak in this country. But when you hear someone speak the Queen's English, doesn't it just pop in your head, wow, that's a smart person?
It really does. And I think we've been predispositioned with that. So for some way throughout time is that the proper and the prim standard that is set of how the English engage or interact is what we've seen portrayed in movies and television shows and things of that nature. And so I think we carry that over into real life.
Now,
and just like with people with a Southern accent are portrayed as a more uneducated society in TV, popular television shows. So I think society brings that out and has that and applies it as a nonfiction thing.
Now, see, okay, now that was my next point I was going to go to. I know that someone from Michigan or especially up east, and when they hear my Southern accent, although they find it charming, I know that it has that little association with less education. But oddly enough, now here I am speaking in full-on Southern accent. I cannot think of any part of the country that when I hear their accent, I think they're any smarter or any... In other words, when you're looking up from the bottom, is it just like everything else is neutral when it's the same language? I never did understand that. Why I don't... When there's no American accent that I can think of that makes me think either way, as far as intelligence.
Right. I think that people, like, if you look at it from a national standard and people start looking at the language and accents, I think that somewhere into the bottom of the rung they put both the Southern accent and the Cajun accent, and then everyone else kind of filters in from there. So it's really funny when I'm talking to someone and they refer to me as a dumb hillbilly, and then they find out that I have 3 college degrees, including a master's degree. It's like, okay, shocker.
Now, I was guilty of it, but it wasn't because of their accent. But when I met some of the Deep South Paranormal boys,
yes,
I'd watched the show, and be honest with you, just watching the show, I thought they were pretty... Those are smart guys.
They are. They're super intelligent guys.
Yeah, and it's very rare that I'm surprised by someone's intelligence, or at least that I would admit it. But I admitted it to their face. I said, you guys are intelligent. You actually, you know what you're talking about. Now, the last thing I want to touch on during this quarter is, I see that Stephanie Burke is in the chat room on scarefestradio.com. And I just wanted to put out an apology. I friended her today. I thought we were already Facebook friends. And
shame on you.
I know. I went to look her up, and I said, "Well, pardon me. We're not Facebook friends." So, Stephanie, my apologies. I meant to friend you because I've just ran into her. It's not like we're drinking buddies or anything, but I did want to put that out there. Now,
E-I-E-I-O.
I had something else I was going to transition back to the show for just a moment. Oh, I did want to touch on the show. Now that, of course, how far did you all travel to do the live show?
For the season 1, we kept it very close to the Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky area. Simply just logistically speaking, trying to move the equipment around the trucks. Mm-hmm. And trying to get into the groove of things. That was one of the difficult things that we were trying to work out. So we kept it within a pretty tight radius. I think we kept it within 60, 80 miles of Nashville or so.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it would be that compact. But once again, because I don't have cable.
You're right, yeah. Yeah, we kept it pretty compact this time. And so we're hopeful that as we move forward and the show grows, and if we get greenlit for a season 2, then we can increase that range.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, you'll just now. Tennessee and Kentucky are haunted places, no doubt in the world. But at you're in a 60-mile radius of anywhere, you're going to run out of haunted places. You're going to have to reach a little bit.
Well, the big thing about this area though is that it was so ingrained in the Civil War. And you had so much with Western expansion and Native Americans here that there's a lot of spirituality in this area. So when it comes to finding these historic locations, there's still quite a bit of history around here to examine.
Now, the other question to kind of follow up on that, of the places you went this season, which one impressed you most overall? And you can base it on anything you want to, whether it's just because some places you walk into and it just absolutely drips history, but
yes.
But from or from the ghost hunter standpoint, what was you were surprised at the activity. But I'm gonna put you on the spot. What was your favorite spot from this season?
Wow, that's what, Wes, that's one that's super hard to answer because we had so many bucket list locations that we did this season. I would say the 2 of the top ones that comes to my mind right off the bat, of course, is going to be the historic Craig Font Mansion in Castellan Springs, Tennessee. That place is haunted. I can't say haunted. It has more spirit energy there than any place I think I've ever been. And to know what actually exists there, it would take forever to try to figure that out. There's just so much there, and it's such a powerful entity. The Bell Witch the Bell Witch episode, the cabin we went to in that area, I had some very interesting stuff happen there too. And it left me with a very, very real impression that there is something going on there. I think one of the things that really stands out for me is that for those of you that were watching the show, for the Bell Witch, when I got the walkie, it said everything's going to be okay, or I can't remember exactly how the phrase was now. It was everything's going to be all right, or something like that. Came over the walkie, and it was whispered. And it's at that time when I was trying to radio to Doogie and Chris, and I couldn't get them. They couldn't radio me, but this voice came over, and it sounded female and sounded like a whisper. Then when I got home, I was watching the episode, and that instance where that thing came over my walkie was loud on the show, but it was like a whisper when I was listening to it on the walkie in real life. So that's one of those things that really it stands out in my mind, because at that point in time I was talking about there being something buried there to keep the witch at bay, and talking about, is it something buried here? Is there something here that's doing that? And so to get that response over the walkie, that's not like using an Ovilus or using a recorder to get an EVP. This thing, whatever it was, it literally engaged the two-way radio, and its voice came through it. So I've gone back and listened to that, and I can't place it with anybody that's on the crew. It's still a shocker to me.
Okay, everyone, we're going to take our next commercial break. As soon as we come back from commercial break, we will do our Black Friday giveaway. 3-day pass, VIP upgrade. It will be on, I'm going to go ahead and give you a heads up. It's going to be on the Facebook, on the main page, on the main Scarefest page, not the group page, the actual business event page. And you will be able to tell the post, because it will have Scott Porter's lovely banner that I designed for him. And I posted on the caption, contest time, post here. Don't screw that up, people. Don't screw that up. We'll be right back.
Coyote Chris Sutton.
Shamanism.
Spiritual advisement.
Paranormal investigations.
Inspirational presentations.
Bringing light to the darkest places for over 20 years. Go to coyotechris.com to learn more. And our phrase to post to win a 3-day pass to the Scarefest with VIP upgrade is Rural Manhunk. Rural Manhunk. RURALMANHUNK. Rural Manhunk. And my wife's favorite picture now is in the background of me. Although, while we're on the looking at your lovely shaven chest there, I going through your pictures, I found this body developed in about a year's time.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to let you plug it all here. What the hell did you do to go from a body like mine, very, very similar, I'm just going to point out for whoever, whoever wants to see potential in me, other than the age difference, I find that picture of him before and after, and the before, that's where I'm at right now. So, I mean, it's almost identical. And then...
Listen, man, you can do it. You can do it. I can get you there. I can help you get there. But, it took some discipline. The big thing that I did is I'm a big promoter of the keto diet. And so I'm also a Networks distributor that has a complete line of keto supported products. And so I sell those as well. But, I discipline myself by going to the gym, eating right, supplementing right. And, man, I went from being overweight, unhealthy, to being, fairly physically fit and just, feeling good about myself and being able to heck, I felt better at 40 than I did at 20.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was looking at our contest winners here, and I'm going to tell you, these were freaking
winners.
Yes, they were freaking close. And to be fair, what I'm going to do, I think I know which one won, but I'm trying to look at the post in another place because
you could figure that out. I know. I got faith in you, Wes. You can do it. And while you're doing it, and everybody's talking about my fitness stuff, you can always check out my fitness website. I've got it's called porterfit.com, porterfit.com.
There you go. Now, the reason I don't jump at your offer is because I treat my body like the backseat of a rental car. And
yes.
My habits are so ingrained. Someone mentioned something the other day about health. We were sitting around the table. And it's like, how much wax are you going to put on that old car? You know, eventually, you know, you accept it for what it is and vacuum it once in a while and hope for the best. But okay, now.
Oh, you can't do that. You got to take care of your car. You got to at least run some premium fuel through it on occasion and clean
that's right.
out the
the 2 minutes would be older. That's right. Or 2 minutes would be younger. Okay, I've got our winner. And I had to do it. I had to look at my phone because it actually showed the time difference between the two. It was very, very close. But Scott Wazalewski, you have won. And I mean, it had to be by seconds. But on my phone, it shows you posted 2 minutes ago. And Don Oden, you get, what do they call it? Honorable mention. But I tell you what, but Don, I'm going to do something. Because this was so close, I'm going to give you a 3-day pass. It won't have the VIP upgrade, but because it was so close, I want to give Don, we're going to give you one of our Scarefest radio passes, so you will still get a free entry into the Scarefest. So I got, write these names down. Scott was, I ain't going to try to spell his last name. Okay, now.
And you did good at pronouncing it. I'm kind of impressed.
It took me. Well, see, he wins tickets every year. I think he's won like the last 2 years. He's cheap bastard that he is. Won't spring for gold tickets, but he is a fan of mine. Actually, and for the record, if all my fans treated me like this, he took me out drinking one night. So two. I've had 2 fans that actually took me out drinking. So I'm on my way. I'm just right behind you. I'm hot on your trail there. On popularity, Scott. Now,
love it.
Now this is the part that we're going to talk about. Everybody, now if you don't recognize him from TV, you will recognize Mr. Scott Porter from being the guy on Facebook that drives around Tennessee looking for farms to have his picture taken on.
That's awesome.
Now I did want to. Okay, now I don't know that I've always talked about you being a country boy.
Yes.
But, okay. Now, I know your grandfather still owns a farm, correct? Is that right? Or
my grandfather does not at this point. He sold his farm. He still plays music every once in a while, but he's kind of slowed down at 96.
Okay, well, I bet he owned it. I mean, you can own shit at 96.
Oh, yeah.
So,
he sold his farm.
Okay, he sold it. Now, whose farm do you play on?
It's my parents' farm.
It is your parents' farm. Now, that was the next part of the question. So you actually grew up on a farm?
Yes. Yep, grew up on the farm. Back in those days, we had tobacco, we had pigs, cows, and we row cropped. But these days, we just do the hay, and we don't do the cattle anymore. We just do hay.
There's no money in hay by itself. See, that's another discussion we had over Thanksgiving. People ask me what I do for a living. Of course, to keep it simple, I tell them I'm a cattle farmer. But
there you go.
At the end of the day, I'm selling grass.
That's what you're doing.
That's everything in my operation is to see how much value I can get out of the grass, and that's why I'm saying you should be back in the cattle business because it make you. It's my dad tried to get in the hay business. He tried to retire. I forget what age he was, 65 probably, and I think he sold every cow on the farm at the time, at least that he owned. And he said, "We're just going to grow hay." And he realized, wait, I'm doing the same amount of work, but at the end of the year, the paycheck's not, it doesn't add up as quick.
True. Well, actually, what we're doing is we're raising Bermuda hay for the equine industry for the horses. So we do Cheyenne Bermuda and Vaughn's number 1 Bermuda, and up until last year we did square bales. And so there's the square bales.
Did you do it the hard way, or do you have
fun.
one of them fancy things that, well, they call it a collector? They call it
A stacker. We had a bale stacker.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you drive it around the field. The problem is finding people who would want to work and want to help you pick up hay. It was very difficult. So I found a lot of times that my dad and I would be the ones out there in the field putting the hay on the trailer and then putting it in the barn while my mother drove the truck around because you just couldn't find help.
No, from your lips to God's ears. I mean, that's the way it is everywhere.
That's it.
We put up like 200 square bales, and that's just so that we got something if we have a cow up or something. But I've got about 1,500 roll bales sitting out there, so I spent my tractor time. But
there you go. You got your tractor time in. Yeah, rolls. You definitely don't make the money out of rolls, and you definitely don't make the money out of fescue because everybody's got it.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, but the cows love it. Now the
cows.
I've been looking. Okay, Bermuda grass to me in Kentucky, Bermuda grass is like one step above crabgrass. I'm trying. When you stop, I saw a post of yours where you said you were doing Bermuda grass hay, and I'm like, wait a minute, Bermuda grass. We call it crow's foot up here.
You're right.
Yeah, and it's because it's a very hardy grass. It grows, especially in Kentucky, it grows very good in the fall.
Yes.
But we get used to that fescue that, well, I mean, it just makes a lot of hay.
What you're looking at up there is your common Bermuda. What this is a specialized strain of Bermuda, the Vaughn's number 1 and the Cheyenne, and they're about a 23% crude protein hay, and they're a whole lot more digestible, a lot less waste. So and you don't have to feed as much to the horses. It leans them out and gives them a really shiny coat, and it's just a really good hay. It's easier on the kidneys too.
So it's breaking into the thoroughbred market then?
Yes, it is.
So I guess I've been out of the loop too long because all we ever heard of, it was alfalfa, and what they feed down in Georgia all the time.
What was it? Not Cerisa. Timothy?
It was Timothy. Yes, it was Timothy hay.
Yeah.
Which Timothy I don't like Timothy hay because at least around here, that's a one and done. It's, and for the listeners, what that means is if you mow it at the wrong stage, which is what farmers tend to do because we ain't got time to do shit. If you mow it too late, it don't come back. It just, that's it for the year. Now, oddly enough, the reason I'm even asking you this is we're going to have a few acres next year that we're going to try to reseed in something. And I've been trying to decide what to get into. We tried soybeans this year, hay beans.
Okay.
I'm waiting to find out if the cattle like them, but I didn't like growing them.
And the thing about Bermuda, this type of Bermuda is a chore. So what you have to do is you have to, work your ground up and kill all the grass off of it. And so you're working it up into a fine powder. And then you have to buy the Bermuda as sprigs. And so they'll deliver it in a dump truck or something, or you use your truck to go get it. And then you have to put the sprigs in a manure spreader and spread them out over your worked up field. And then you have to disc it back in. And what those sprigs do is they take root. So that rhizome takes root and that's how it grows your hay. So, and it has runners on it that just make it really thick and covers the field.
That's because it's kin to crabgrass, everybody, just so you know. That's
it.
But well, and that's the truth of it. But I was not aware. I had no idea that's how you would even highfalutin Bermuda grass that you planted sprigs. I had no idea.
Yep.
This has been an educational show for me. The listeners are probably eyes are rolling back to the head. Okay, we're going to do our last commercial break. Everybody, you're watching Farm Talk with Scarefest. He's making a list and he's checking it twice. But where does that leave you? You've got to come up with thoughtful and affordable gifts for friends, relatives, and coworkers. What to do, what to do. From Scarefest Radio, just click the Merry Christmas graphic in our sponsor links and you will find the kyhorse.com selection of practical and beautiful personalized leather belts, handmade in the bluegrass. It's a Kentucky tradition that fits every Christmas budget. And welcome back to Scarefest Radio. Incidentally, if you're wanting a belt, go ahead and get your orders in because these things are handmade. It takes, we're lucky if we get them out in a week's time. And Christmas is go time. So, scarefestradio.com or kyhorse.com. Now, last 15 minutes we have saved for shameless personal promotion between myself and Mr. Scott Porter. I'm going to go ahead and start the ball rolling with the Louisville SuperCon. Everybody, the Louisville SuperCon, Scarefest will be there. Through a bad email chain, I thought we had a double booth, but no, we do just have a single booth, and so I don't have nearly as much room to spread my elbows out as I thought I would, but I have been told that I can do really bad tarot card readings from the booth and put my banner out, so...
That's great.
But the Louisville SuperCon, if you're not familiar with it, Louisville, Kentucky, November 30th through December 3rd. I'll be there Friday and Saturday. If you come Sunday, my ass is home. But they got Joey Lauren Adams, who is just an absolutely beautiful lady. Linda Blair, for the horror fans. Let's get back to the horror fans. Linda Blair will be there. And oddly enough, on their website, The Exorcist is the third movie they list. I don't understand that. When you're famous for a franchise, you would think, but that's not. Barry Bostwick, friend of Scarefest. Alice Cooper, who has been on our wish list for a while, but they did snag him. Richard Dreyfuss, they just announced him like a week or two ago, I think. And John Glover from Smallville. Scott, that was one of my favorite all-time TV shows, Smallville. And you know why?
Yes.
Do you know why I like Smallville? Because that was the scariest fucking town that you could imagine.
Yes.
They were having meteor showers like every other week. Okay. There was someone in that damn high school getting killed like every 2 weeks. You would think after a while the school would go like, hey, maybe it's us.
Yes. It was awful. It's like all the time there's somebody get killed there.
So the murder capital of America. But anyway, Smallville. But John Glover was great in that. And they got a whole bunch of people that I'm not going to bother because it's not my con. But we will be there selling Scarefest merchandise. And like I said, come up, ask for one. I will have my 8x10 glossies, which they're not that nice because they were done on screen captures because all I do is radio, TV and radio. But I will give you a free autograph. I will autograph it free, and the picture's free. No catches. Now, back to my guest, Mr. Scott Porter. It looks like you've got a pretty good calendar coming up.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's starting to shape up. I've got coming up November 30th, December 1st. I'm going to be in Mineral, Virginia, with Stephanie Burke at the Dunlora Inn for an investigation. Meet and greet. I think we're going to do some breakfast up there with the folks, and then I think there's a Reiki class and some other stuff going on. So all kinds of stuff. So if you want to check that out, you can go to my my Facebook page there and click on events, and then the link to get there is right there in those events. December 8th, I'm going to be at the old Firehouse Paracon up in Michigan, at the Michigan Firehouse Museum. So be sure to come up and check us out if you're going to be up there. I'll be there. You're
going to Michigan in December. You are a brave son of a bitch. I bet you wear a hat up there.
You know what? I'm going to have a hat on, and I'm going to have hand warmers under that hat. What are you talking about, man? One of my stipulations on that one too was that to make sure that the location had heat, so that we could be sure that we were going to be warm. You know what? one of the other big things I want to talk about too is that coming up, we're going to be closing this thing out and be getting ready to go set sail. Is next year on May 10th, or that around May 10th, is the Wicked Waters Cruise, and we've still got some cabins for sale for that. We're going to sail out of Boston, but first we're going to do a nighttime lantern tour of the Freedom Trail. And then I think we're going to end up in like one of the oldest bars in America. And then the next day we're going to set sail on the ship to Bermuda. And then we're going to do a ghost hunt with everyone that's in our group over a shipwreck in Bermuda. Now, you want to talk about a bucket list type of investigation. This is going to be interesting. You know, everything disappears in the Bermuda Triangle, right? So why not go down there and do an investigation in the water and see what happens?
Well, I can think of a couple of reasons not to do a ghost investigation in the Bermuda Triangle, which
Hey, man, listen, I've been in a coffin before, so I think I can go down the Bermuda Triangle.
I would rather be in a coffin. See, I don't like things that I don't have control over. Now, in a coffin, I can kick the door open. Now, it took me a long time. I wasn't afraid of flying, but I didn't like to fly. And it's not because I was afraid the plane was going to crash. It was that I don't have control over the situation. If I'm in a car, there are things I can do. If I'm driving, my quick, lightning fast reflexes. If nothing else, if I'm in the passenger seat, I know how to duck. But, plane, you're counting on a couple guys up front, and then the rest of it's all gravity. And
well, you know what? You just have to kind of go with the flow, to be able to. We're going to have to get you some help, Wes. We're going to have to get you some.
If I had a nickel for every time somebody told me that, it's a weird way to make money.
Well,
but
you know what? Here's the thing, though. We're going to have to get you some super high intensity help. That's what we're going to have to do. It's super high intensity. So think about that acronym. We're going to give you some super high intensity.
Super high intensity. You need something going on the end to make the T.
This is true. Super high intensity. What? Training.
Training. There we go. Training. There we go. Super high intensity.
We're going to do that. So anyway. But no, that man. If you want to get down there, get you a cabin on this thing. We're going to do a haunted history tour of St. George's and the fort. We're going to do an investigation at the fort, St. Catherine's and the Unfinished Church. So this should be pretty cool.
If my boss, Mr. Griffith, is listening tonight, you've been looking for someplace else to send me. There you go. That's
hey,
just throw it out.
It'll be nice.
There. And for the record, Brandon is going with me on some of these jaunts. I am sure Nicole and Anita would not mind if me and Brandon went on a cruise.
I think you should, and I think it'd be a good way to promote everything that you're working on.
Absolutely, that's a wonderful idea.
Including your hay beans.
Yeah, we need to go back to that. I didn't like them. I did. we were lucky because we happened to get them harvested just in time. All that rain that came through that screwed up everybody. If we had been 1 week later, they would still be in the damn field. And I don't like anything like that because I was baling hay in October.
We were trying to get hay in too. I mean, we lost so much this year because we would start bailing and it started raining on us, and it was just awful.
Oh, and I was going to tell you. Now, this is how I spent my Thanksgiving. Yesterday, I built fence. We had Thanksgiving dinner. The company left. I went and patched fence. Then today, I picked corn all freaking afternoon. We're still picking corn.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Well, hey, as long as it's growing.
No, it's not. It's just standing there waiting for a good windstorm. That's the problem. It's one heavy snow and it's gone. It's
gone. Yeah.
Yeah. But when the corn picker, when you see it sinking behind the tractor, and that's pretty much what we've been in this cycle. We're like Kentucky is like 2 or 3 tenths away from our wettest year on record. Now, of course, the record doesn't go back to the beginning of time. It's since they've been keeping record at the airport. But that's how wet we've been in Kentucky, and I don't think Tennessee's been far off that.
No, not far off at all. Not from our standpoint, anyway. We've had a really wet year.
So a little more farm talk for everyone. A little more farm talk. The other thing, now talking about the events and everything, of course, you jumped on up to May, which made everybody feel a lot better. Living in the part of the country that you do, and obviously not liking cold weather any more than I do, when someone approaches you about doing a winter event, are you a little hesitant?
You know, after all the years of Ghost Asylum and Haunted Towns, investigating the far reaches of the North while it was 7 feet of snow on the ground and 85 degrees below zero, I look at some of these things and I'm like, it's going to be cold. So if you want me to do an event and it's in the South, the Southwest, or for Hawaii, for instance, I'm game. I am game. But if you're going to ask me to go somewhere to the far reaches of the universe and there is no heat, I'm going to have to really consider what the benefits are.
I got invited one time to, I think it was an asylum up in upstate New York for their New Year's Eve ghost hunt.
Yeah.
I said, hell no. Because it would have been a free trip, but it was not going. They weren't going to pay my ass. And I said, there is nothing you're going to say that doesn't involve your checkbook that's going to get me anywhere near upstate New York on New Year's Eve. So I just said,
I can't pay the heat bill with a smile.
Absolutely not. Everybody, that's been our Scarefest Radio for this Black Friday celebration. Scott, I want to thank you again for being my stand-up guy with not enough life to come in on a holiday. But once again, I think we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I always do, man. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and be on the show. Love it, man. We have some great conversation and talk about a little bit of everything under the sun.
I'm willing to bet, I'm going to stand up right here right now and say, I'm willing to bet this was the most diverse interview you've probably ever done on the podcast. It's really up there really, really high. I think, though, we're going to have to do another one, and we're going to have to really talk about some evidence and some haunted, spooky stuff. We can do that. Okay, this will give me... Okay, here's my other plug. Starting in January, everyone, Scarefest Radio is going to add a second hour to the show. And it will be nothing but paranormal. We're going to take all the paranormal stuff that we've been kind of mixing in. We're actually going to shove it back to the 10 o'clock hour and concentrate on horror and maybe some UFOs and, some of the weird stuff will still be included in the regular hour. But we're actually, because I know some of these horror people when I'm talking ghostology, and I can get really inside baseball when I'm talking ghostology, I know their eyes roll back because, oddly enough, most of your horror fans don't even believe in ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Yeah. I'm like,
I don't get it.
I don't get it. You love the fact that Jason can rise from the grave, but your grandmother can't. I don't get it. But anyway, so that is coming up, and so once we get that rolling, I will have you on for the specific purpose of just going inside baseball, and then that'll give me a chance to bust your balls over the flashlight thing that I saw that you and Mike did at one of your locations.
Well, you know what?
Or it was Chris. It was him and Chris. Actually, it was you and Chris.
Okay, yeah. Well, we could talk about one of those because one of those shocked the crap out of us.
Okay. But the one I saw is like, it's another damn flashlight. Anyway, everybody, this has been Scarefest Radio. Thank you so much for watching tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show.